CT08 classification to the NU 75 CT10 classification, which puts it in line with the union position in the district court, which has a similar responsibility.
Thank you for that. Is there a motion to support this?
So moved.
Second?
Support.
Any questions or discussions on this? Seeing nothing, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Matter carries. Next, we have a request about our premium adjustments for our MMRMA.
Finance reports first.
Forgive me, please. Proceed.
I know you're all excited to hear these. So the general fund income statement was run as of June 26th. And I would just want to point out, I'm going to flip through to the last page of the general fund income statement and highlight that we currently, to date, have just over $7 million in revenue and $18,510,000 in expense totals. And as I've indicated in the past, you'll see this trend continue until probably around September or so when we start receiving the funding in from property tax revenues. And then you'll start seeing those revenue totals tick up quite substantially. As we move on to the fund equity changes report, as I indicated, under the fund category governmental funds, we have the $7 million in revenue and just over $18 million in expenses year to date. As we follow through to the special revenue funds, we have $12,600,000 in revenues and $20,494,000 in expenses. The debt service fund has $1.1 million in revenue with $1.5 in expenses. The capital project funds is experiencing approximately almost $1.9 million in revenues with just over $1 million in expenses. The special assessment districts are seeing $3.6 million in revenues with just over $3 million in expenses. So the total for your governmental funds is $26,300,000 in revenues to $44,720,000 in expenses. As we move on to the proprietary fund, or what we often call our business-related funds, you can see that the enterprise fund totals are just over $12,400,000 in revenues with $13,300,000 in expenses. The internal service fund has $167,000 in revenues with $200,000 in expenses. So the total for your proprietary funds is $12,600,000 in revenues with $13,500 in expenses. The grand total for all of your funds year to date is $38,931,000 in revenues to $58,243,000 in expenses. And I will try to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Administrator Murphy? Seeing none, we'll move on now to the MMRMA request. Kim, do you want to brief us on that?
Sure. As you know, that we have MMRMA, or Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority. They are our carrier of our property, liability, auto, and sewer backup coverage. It is time for the renewal to take place. Actually, they were late in getting us our quotes this year. The policy actually renews on July 1. There were a few changes this year in our policy, which I have outlined. We went from a $1,000 property damage deductible to $1,500. We had a decrease in our automobile liability and public officials liability coverages. We are experiencing an increase in our auto damage coverage, general liability, law enforcement liability, and property coverages. Last year, we did add on our stop loss coverage, which limits our exposure at $330,000 per claim. And the total premium for this year is just over $655,000, which is about a 4% increase over last year. In addition to that, I've talked to you previously about the net asset distribution. This is something we receive annually from MMRMA. And that distribution this year, which is $198,404, of which I'm recommending be distributed back to the county. And so the request before you today is to recommend authorizing the county administrator to sign the renewal for property, liability, auto, and sewer backup coverage with Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority in the amount of $655,081, and to request the net asset distribution in the amount of $198,404 be dispersed directly to the county.
Do I have a motion to that effect?
So move.
Support. Moved and supported. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Matter carries. Next, we go on to the Maury Spears campus. I guess I'll just run over this briefly. As you guys may recall, there was some water damage from, I think, a backed up roof drain. Looks like the bulk of that has been covered by insurance. And in the meantime, they identified some, since things were already in a state of disarray, it was a good time to make some needed improvements to the facility. They all look very reasonable here. We have a request before us now that we pay Krieghoff Lenawee $82,811 for these repairs, with $12,000 coming from account 292662930 and the balance from account 401-901.854. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So move. Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Matter carries. Next, we are again in this long stream of opioid settlements. We have one from Sandoz that looks like there's a one-time payment of $171,783.89. And we have a request to recommend authorizing Administrator Murphy to sign the participation form and to approve Resolution 2025-08. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll move.
Support.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions? Commissioner Collins.
It's a one-time payment.
This particular disbursement is a one-time payment. I will indicate that in the not too distant future, you are also going to have a similar request, but this is to do with Purdue Pharma. And that will be a much larger settlement that will most likely expand over a number of years. Although we do not have the detail behind that yet. That is just being made known to us.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Matter carries. Next item in front of us is some work that is being proposed for Maury Spears campus. Normally, I would turn this to Deputy Administrator Elliott because this was a bunch of her work is represented in this. So Kim, I'd ask you to just brief us briefly on this before we move forward.
Not a problem. As you're aware, we did apply for and receive a grant through MDHHS for some improvements in the current detention center. The amount of the local match on that was $500,000. The amount of the grant that we applied for was and received was $1,333,194. When we originally made application for that, it was based on estimates from Granger for the work that needs to be done. We now have actually bid that project out and have received the actual bids, and that is what is before you today. So what we are looking for right now is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners the approval of the final expense proposal bids as provided by Granger for the renovation of the existing detention hygiene infrastructure.
Is there a motion to that effect?
So move. Support.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Commissioner Van Dorn.
And where's that leave us on the balance of the contingency on the capital improvement?
I don't have the figures in front of me, but we still have a number, probably $5 or $6 million in that contingency fund. There's still plenty to handle this as we budgeted it earlier this year.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And we've had a motion on this, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Matter carries. Next before us, we have a PA 116 application. Looks like there's 3 different properties, probably all in Ogden Township. Been And these have already been through the planning commission, right, Ralph? Okay. If there's no questions, I would entertain a motion to recommend approval of all three PA 116 applications.
So move. Support.
Been moved and supported. Any additional comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Matter carries. And now to our long-suffering sheriff and his staff, we finally come to the flock cameras. We've met several times on this. It's been referred back to committee. I appreciate the patience of the sheriff and his officers as we move through this. It seems like we've come to some good solutions for some of the concerns we had. I did read through the contract. It looks like there's been an addendum saying that the department will not engage the forthcoming live surveillance features. And we've stipulated that in the contract. Other than that, everything else appears to remain the same. So the request is to enter into a 2-year pilot contract with Flock for a total of $55,050 from the criminal justice allocation and authorize Chairman Van Doren to sign. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So move.
Is there support?
Support.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, well, let's do roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Collins. Commissioner Daly,
Oh, yes.
Commissioner Krasny,
No.
Commissioner Martis.
No.
Commissioner Stimson.
Sure.
Commissioner Tillotson,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Doren,
Yes.
Commissioner Ungst,
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco,
Yes.
7 yeas. 2 nays.
Thank you. Is there any other ways and means business? Do we have any additional items for the consent agenda? Is there any public comment on any non-agenda item? Any commissioner comment? Administrator Murphy.
I just want to point out that all of the action you took today will appear on your consent agenda with the exception of the flat camera system, because that did not receive a unanimous vote. That will be reported on under Personnel Ways and Means under the committee report out portion of the Board of Commissioners agenda.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Meeting is adjourned. Thank